Dear DSA students, we are so excited to be on this journey with you, and we want to say a big well done for your commitment and enthusiasm so far. Whether you have just joined or you have been learning with us over the past few weeks, we see your progress and we are rooting for you all the way. Now, we know there's been a bit of silence around the learning management system, and we sincerely apologize for that. But here's the good news. We have an update as regards the learning management system, and it is one you'll love. Some of you may have been onboarded on the previous LMS, but want to ask that you kindly disregard any previous link, platform, or communication concerning that old system. We are officially switching to a new platform that you may be familiar with, Canvas by Instructure. For those new to Canvas, don't worry. A video tutorial will be uploaded to guide you step by step on how to use the platform effectively on our YouTube channel. You will also receive an onboarding email directly from Canvas by Instructure to help you get started. Please follow the instructions in the email and input your details to begin your learning journey on the platform. We are committed to making sure your learning experience is smooth, interactive, and impactful. So please, pay close attention to the announcements coming right after this video for more details. We are so glad to have you with us. Keep going, we've got this.
All right. Okay. Oh gosh. What is tonight? Good evening, guys. Please, can you hear me? All right. Thank you so much. Peace. Thank you, Ebenezer. Great. All right. Good evening, Okoli Grace. Good evening, Raji. Um, Good evening, European Bobo. Hi, Emmanuel. Okay, hi, Judith. Natek Production. Good evening, Victor Edem. Good evening, good evening, good evening. All right, all right. I've missed you guys a bit also. I've missed you guys a bit also. But I'm sure you guys have been enjoying peace. Because when I came in, I saw like some guys saying good evening already. Like they were addressing peace already, and I'm like, oh my god, peace has stolen my students. But nice, nice, nice. Thank you. I'm so glad you guys are enjoying peace class. Okay, somebody's calling me cyber apostle. Wow, that's interesting. That's actually somewhat title. Please don't put me in trouble. Please don't put me in trouble. Dara Messi, good evening. Fantastic TV, good evening, my boss. Good evening, my yoga. I greet you too. Voma, good evening. Yambi, good evening. You don't need to add sir to my name. Yeah, peace did. We actually joined a couple of stream. I was just silently learning. All right. Good evening. Okay. Chibu came. Good evening. Akisiku, good evening. Justina, good evening. King Dre, good evening. Anita, good evening. Boss Ajibola Okeme, that sounds like my name. Good evening. All right. Thank you so much, guys. So, as usual, as is our tradition, now is a good time to call your friends. Okay. So, please send a message on the group. Try to call your friends, tell them to come, right? Because we're about to move. All right. I will deliver your message, Isaiah. Okay, I will tell Peace that she did a great job. All right. Atinga David, sorry about missing your name. I sincerely apologize. You know, it's a lot of messages, so it's easy for me to miss some messages. All right. So good evening, Joy Chidema, Noel. Good evening, Okoli. We are the cyber police. We, the cyber police, are happy to see you. All right. Thank you. Thank you, cyber police. I hope I'm safe though. Good evening. Oh, this person is calling me master. Oh my god. That's a strong word. That's a strong word. But good evening, divine. Yes. Akachuku divine. Good evening. Okay, thank you, Bright. So good to see you guys too. All right, so please let's try as much as possible to call our friends, send a message, alert others, let them join us on this stream. All right, let them join us, and we can move to what we have for today. Oh my god, comment section is so funny tonight. It's so funny tonight. So yeah, so happy to be here again, guys. Super excited to what we have ahead of us, right? I mean, we've been doing the hard stuff in quotes, right? We've been doing the hard stuff, and I'm so glad, like most of you are still on this journey, right? During peace class, I joined, and then I was seeing like 200 and something students, 300 and something students. I'm like, okay, even though the road is getting tough, right, you guys are still holding up, and that's really, really great. I sincerely appreciate that, and you guys are fantastic, basically. And yeah, as we proceed, trust me, the ride is going to get more interesting. You are going to enjoy a lot of what we have ahead of us, all right? And by exactly 10 minutes past time, I'll just kick off for tonight's class. Okay, so yeah, I've been great, guys. I've been great. Thank you very much. I've been great. I see some of you guys asking how I've been. Yeah, I've been doing great. Work has been great. A lot of interesting stuff, right? Trust me, cybersecurity is a very interesting field. Some from time to time, you get some from interesting stuff. All right, Placky TV. Good evening, Port Harcourt, from Port Harcourt. Okay. Oh, some of you are in Abuja. I would love to meet me in person for more detailed practice, if that's okay. Eden Victor, that's I can't say yet, right? I can't say. So let's just stick with what um what Incubator Hub has planned for us. But trust me, I mean, some of you already sent connected with me on LinkedIn, and we've had a couple of messages, right? And it has been interactive. There's a particular guy. the last message I got on LinkedIn, right? I saw it and I have not replied to your message. Okay, trust me, I'm trying as much as possible to find time to reply to that particular message because I want it to be authentic. I don't just want to reply you anyhow. That's why there's a delay. So this is like me publicly announcing and apologizing for taking time to reply to your message. Okay, yeah. So, but I mean, let's see what the future holds. I'll be so happy maybe in the near future if I can get to meet some of you physically, and then you guys are like, oh, Emmanuel, I started cybersecurity, and then you had a little role to play in the journey, right? It's something that will really gladden my heart. All right. So yeah, I trust that we'll meet at some point in the future, but I can't say how soon it is. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of I miss you. I've missed you guys too. I've missed you guys, but you guys have been enjoying peace. Like you guys have really been enjoying peace. So thank you. So I was asking for my police rank. I think I'm a constable. I mean, what do they call them? Is it recruits? Oh god. Oh, David Bassi, I have not seen my invite up till now. All right. Let's not have this kind of message, right? Okay, everybody has their personal bias. All right. I don't think that's really friendly to say. All right. So thank you. No, I'm a constable. I'm a recruit. I'm just a beginner. All right. So thank you guys. All right. Let's just get to what we have for tonight. So you already know the modus operandi. I'll just introduce myself, and I think we can just skip that part, okay? And yeah, just skip that part, and then we'll jump to what we have for today. Okay, so some of you are complaining about LMS invites. Okay, okay, okay. So that has been noted. Okay, so you should probably check your spam, make sure you're not missing the message, but then I'm going to convey the message, and hopefully that will be resolved. Okay, all right. So for those having issues with their invites, don't worry, that will be resolved. Okay, trust me, there are people on the following the live stream that are checking some of these messages. Okay, and they will get to you guys, right? They will resolve the problem. Okay. So thank you, guys. So welcome to tonight's class. You guys have been enjoying. So this is me. This is what I do. These are some of my qualification, my educational background, and some of the places I work or have worked. Right. So yeah. And tonight we're gonna be talking about secure communication. Okay, so we are going to be talking about secure communication tonight. So yeah, but before we get to secure communication, before we get to what I have in this slide, please tell me in the comment section when we talk about when you see secure communication, what comes to your mind? Okay, when you hear the word secure communication, right? What comes to your mind? What do you understand by the phrase secure communication? What do you understand by the phrase secure communication? We want to hear from you guys. So let's just hold on with the greeting. All right. Thank you guys. Good evening, everybody. Let's just hold on with that. Yeah, okay. So Pretty Matthew is saying encryption. Okay, okay. Ebong Savior encryption. All right. Thank you, Ezekiel. I love this. A reliable network, right? Something you can rely on. Um, Building your words. Okay. I'm not sure of the context of this CFRAD Tola, a communication that is encrypted like WhatsApp chat. Thank you very much, Oluwasemi logo. Yeah, I love how you are putting it to real life. I love how practical that is. Secure communication means a conversation which is confidential. All right. Yeah. Reliable protection, protected communication, encrypted communication, the process of ways of securing our network, um, confidential encryption, no interference in communication, encrypted message. All right, that's a lot. This is a lot. A safe way to communicate. Encryption is the word. SSH. Okay, who is this person saying SSH? Okay, that's interesting. Secure communication means a conversation which is confidential on the internet. Okay, okay. I see a lot of confidential flying around. Okay, I see a lot of people now. I love the fact that you guys are actually relating it to CIA, to the CIA triad. That's beautiful. I love that. That means you guys have actually been following along in our session, and yeah, that's really encouraging. Trust me, that's really encouraging. You guys, like, I'm seeing a lot of confidential, I'm seeing a lot of CIA triad, I'm seeing a lot of encryption. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so you guys have made a lot of sense, right? But if you know, I'm a very strict teacher, right? So if I'm to mark some of you, I'll give some of you 50 over 100 out of 100. If I'm to mark some, I'll say 60 out of 100. And yeah, I'm going to be explaining why I'm not giving you guys 100 out of 100 as we proceed in this slide. Okay, so when we talk about secure communication, yes, confidentiality is important, right? But then that's not all there is to secure communication. Okay, so okay, we are keeping something confidential, right? We are trying to make sure that only those we want to have access to it has access to the information, right? What then happens when someone else outside the party will want to have access to the information has access to it, right? What happens to it, right? So very important thing you should consider, right? Very important thing you should consider. So I mean, when it comes to encryption, right? What part of the CIA? Some of you guys are spoke about confidentiality, right? So when we talk about encryption, right, what part of the CIA, right, would you say encryption is dealing with? Okay, the comment section is so rowdy tonight. Oh my god, like everybody is so happy to type, and I love that. I love that, even though it's stressing me a bit. I love it. Trust me, guys, I love it. Okay, vintage end-to-end encryption. Yeah, yeah, confidentiality, integrity, accessibility. I know there's going to be a lot of disagreement about what part of the CIA triad encryption speak to. So if you are saying confidentiality, can you explain? If you are saying integrity, explain, give your reason, right? And if you want to say availability, give your reason, right? Give your reason. Okay, so I said accessibility. Okay, that's interesting. All right, so don't just type the word. Just give me the part of the triad and then your reason for selecting that part of the triad. Okay. Okay, now I love this. Benjamin is saying integrity and confidentiality. Wow. Okay, now that's interesting. Integrity means untampered. Okay, so yeah, that makes sense, right? Integrity, right? Secure communication. I want to make sure that what I'm sending cannot be tampered with, right? Some people are saying confidentiality, and I want to believe like their reason is okay. I want to make sure it is only the person I want to have access to that information that has access to that information. So you all are correct in your own right. Trust me, you all are correct in your own right, right? So I spoke about, I think it was Benjamin that mentioned two CIA triage, which is what I like, right? So you guys, I want to believe that you guys are already getting to the mental space of understanding that for you to have secure communication, right, and in cybersecurity, like we explained at the very beginning, right, it's not about protecting one part of the CIA triad, right? Right? A lot of times things are going to be intertwined, right? So it might be confidential. In fact, it might be all three that are affected. Might be all three that are affected. So when we talk about secure communication, I mean, other people might say otherwise, but personally for me, I would say it affects the entire CIA triad, right? The entire CIA triad. Yes, encryption is very important when it comes to secure communication, and that's going to be like one of our focus on for this class, right? But I want a proper understanding that, okay, when it comes to CI, I mean, if there's no system for you to communicate with, then communication can never happen, right? Talk more of secure communication. So that affects what? CIA, that affects availability. Okay, so I would say everything in the CIA triad are affected. Thank you, Martin. Right? All the whole essence of CIA triad is to ensure secure communication. I love that angle to it. I love that angle to it. So Wilson, accessibility and confidentiality, third party won't read your communication. Yes, yes, I agree with that. Yes, you are correct. But I will score you a 70 out of 100. I mean, yeah, then Victor, confidentiality means it's classified for a certain person to have access to it. All right, Elijah says all CIA. Yeah. All right. So thank you guys. Beautiful comments. So let's jump. So yeah, let's just keep the recap, right? Let's keep the recap. So what are my expectations for this session tonight? What are my expectations, right? I want us to build up to understand the importance of securing communication. We are going to be learning the core of encryption concepts. So like I said, encryption is going to be like a major focus for tonight, right? So we are going to be learning the core of encryption concept, symmetric and asymmetric. We are going to explore tools like TLS, PGP, and secure mail. Very important. Then we are going to do some walkthrough of how to secure messaging and encryption tunnel. So for this last part, I'm not sure we'll be able to touch on that tonight because I want us to properly understand what we have. But hopefully we'll pick up for that come tomorrow, come Friday, by God's grace. Okay. So I see a lot of you guys already slapping in some nice word, end-to-end encryption, all those kind of interesting things that you see online. WhatsApp, right? WhatsApp is always quick to say, oh, WhatsApp is end-to-end encryption. Yeah, right. What that means is they are trying to assure you that there is secure, your communication channel is actually secure. So yeah, very, very correct. Yep, let's jump to what we have tonight. So I have a question here, right? So how do you send a secret message that only the right person can read, even if others intercept it? So this question, I'm not expecting an answer. So this is a rhetorical question, right? But think about it. Take our time to think about it. As a person, how do you send a secret message that only the right person can read your message? And even if others intercept it, you want to make sure that it does not make sense. It does not make sense. Okay, now that's interesting. I can see my fellow spiritual brother Temitope is like top spiritual brother. He says he writes his message in tongues. Oh my god. Ah, I'm not sure I'm in that level of interpreting tongues yet, yeah. All right, that was a very funny answer. I love that. So yeah, someone said in WhatsApp. Okay, but yeah, in WhatsApp, right? That's very correct. But yeah, encrypted message, yeah. Someone is saying Morse code. Okay, cryptography. I have a lot of vintage Imabong are saying cryptography. Are we skipping cryptography? Encryption, yeah. Encryption, hashing. Oh my god, I'm seeing a lot of cool words here. Encryption, encryption. Someone is asking if we're skipping cryptography. No, remember, we are trying to flow in this class to make everything applicable and understandable. Right? So we are taking a very cool an approach that I believe is going to convey the message effectively. Okay, so we are not skipping cryptography. Do it like the olden days. Codes. Okay, that's interesting. Can we say true code? Yeah, I mean, you have to explain it. Sorry, say view once. Okay, okay, that's interesting. Encryption, that the other person has the key to decrypt. Beautiful. I love this Abiola, right? So it's not just about encryption, right? If you are sending an encrypted message, you also want to make sure that when the right party has access to that message, they have their own way of converting it back to something that is what that is intelligent, something that is readable by them, right? So in cryptography, right, is we say okay, there's something called ciphertext, which is the encrypted message, and then we have the plain text, which is the plain text. Okay, beautiful. So encoding codes, I think if it is encrypted, okay. So I want to believe like a lot of people are talking about encryption by using the word coding because I mean, right? Okay, decrypted. Steganography, okay. Yes, steganography is actually another way of doing it, right? Yeah, that's correct. Okay, so Spark TV is saying Telegram is one of the secure ways to send communication. Okay, now that's interesting. All right. Yeah, so that enough for this. Let's get to what we have. So having explained all of this, having heard different thoughts, different opinions, and yeah, you all are right, in your own way, right? What exactly is secure communication? What exactly is secure communication? Don't be so quick to answer this question, right? So, what exactly is secure communication? Take a minute to think about it, right? So, to someone is saying, okay, secure communication is communicating through WhatsApp. Another person is saying, oh, secure communication is communicating through Telegram, right? Someone is saying, okay, steganography and all those things. Yeah, all those are correct. But I want us to look at this from the perspective of professionals, right? What exactly is making Telegram as a platform a platform, a secure platform for communication? What exactly is making WhatsApp secure for communication? That's what we'll be looking at. We're not just going to be looking at those platforms that has already been built. We are going to be looking at what is making those places secure. So how can we know when something is secure? And probably how can we build our own secure communication channel? Okay? All right. So oh my God, I made a mistake in my slide. I sincerely apologize. Right. So, secure communication. I'm coming. Let me quickly correct that. All right. Sorry about that. That was misleading. Okay. So, secure communication has to do with exchanging information, right, in a way that prevents unauthorized access, which is one thing. It also prevents tampering, which is another thing. And finally, impersonation. Okay, so let me go over this. It has to do with what? Exchanging information in a way that prevents unauthorized access, prevents tampering, and also prevents what? Impersonation. And I have here on my slide that it ensures what? The CIA triad, which is confidentiality, it ensures integrity, and as well it ensures what? Authentication, or yeah, ensures authentication, or some people say, oh, it ensures availability. Okay, it ensures availability. Oh my God, right? That's what I wanted to write. It ensures availability. Okay, so the three members of the CIA triad must be met for us to be able to say we have secure communication. Right? Sorry, I meant availability. That was an error from my part, not authentication. Right? In this context, I want to put availability. Okay, so Bello Matthew, yes, non-repudiation. Yeah, we want to make sure that the person I'm talking to cannot deny that it is he or she that I'm talking to. Okay, yeah, so very important. Want to prevent unauthorized access, want to prevent tampering, and want to prevent impersonation. That's once we can meet all this, once we have a channel that we can use to communicate that meets all of these three terms, then we can say, okay, this channel is suitable for what? For secure communication. For secure communication, right? But before we get to the next slide, right? Before we get to the next slide, I have a question, right? That's what the next slide is going to speak to. But I want to put it to you guys, right? Why do you want to communicate securely? Why do you think, as an individual, you want to communicate securely? Why do you want to communicate securely? All right. Thank you, Tomiwa Michael, for privacy, Obadiah for privacy, Najin to avoid interference, Michael to prevent third-party interference, Ebenezer for privacy, Ada is a privacy, okay, to safeguard important message, for security and confidentiality, privacy. I have a lot of privacy, and I love that. Yes, I love that. Absolutely love that, right? Confidentiality is also trying to speak to privacy, right? Now, I want to ask a follow-up question, right? I want to ask a follow-up question. So, if as an individual, you believe or you think you need to communicate securely in order to maintain privacy, right? In order for you to maintain privacy, right? Now, when we talk about privacy, I mean, it could be in a lot of context, right? Privacy to one person may be different for privacy to another person, right? But then, what about organization? What about businesses? How important do you think it is for them to have secure communication? How important do you think it is for businesses to have secure communication? Okay, so I'm waiting for the answers. I'm still having some people replying to the past individual question I asked, but now we are saying for organization. Thank you, Chuku D. Ezekiel said very, very, very important for organization. Yes, thank you. Okay, someone is talking about data protection already, right? So a lot of you guys agree with me that it is very important for organization, right? So I want us to be very careful. I want us to be very clear as we proceed on this slide, right? Let's not limit our thoughts to just, oh, WhatsApp. Let's not limit our thoughts, right? Our thinking to, oh, just Telegram, right? Because a lot of those are coming from a personal perspective. I want us to expand our mind, to look beyond ourselves, right? To look as potential future cybersecurity professionals, right? At the end of the day, you're not going to be protecting your friend, yourself, right? You're not going to be protecting yourself alone. The aim is for you to work for an organization, right? Or start your own organization, right? So you need to start thinking in that way from now, right? How do I make sure that the communication, right, channel for the organization I'm working for is secure? How do I make sure that the trade secrets, the business secrets is secure? How do I make sure that, okay, when we are sending our customers data from one point to another, we are sending it in a secure manner, right? Some of you are already talking about data protection and all those kind of stuff. And a lot of time when it comes to data protection, there are fines, right? If your customer data should be leaked and all those kind of stuff. Okay, so thank you. Okay, Kuburat is saying to prevent unauthorized access. Okay, someone is saying firewall already. Okay, yes, think outside the apps. All right, so I'm saying IDS, IPS. Okay, all right, nice. Intellectual property, yeah. All right, so now a lot of time when it comes to um, secure communication, we're already on the same page, right? That it affects the CIA triad, right? We're already on the same page on that. That okay, at the end of the day, if one component of the CIA triad is broken, then there's a breach, right? But then, want to prevent eavesdropping when we are talking about secure communication. There are some attacks you should be thinking about. Okay, eavesdropping, right? That's very self-explanatory. Somebody is somewhere listening to your communication, right? Eavesdropping on your communication. Want to prevent something known as man in the middle attack. Okay, want to prevent something known as man in the middle attack. Want to prevent something known as what? Replay attack, right? Want to prevent something known as what? Message tampering, and we also want to prevent spoofing. So these are just some examples of what we try to prevent, right? Of what we try to protect against when it comes to secure communication. Right? But there, I mean, you could name a lot more, right? There, you could name a lot more, right? So very important. So what is eavesdropping or sniffing traffic? Now, it is possible, right, for somebody to come and be listening to your conversation, right? The same way it is possible physically, it is also possible digitally, right? Maybe you're having a private communication with your friend, and then somebody comes to the door, put a glass cup on the door, and the person is trying to hear what you guys are saying. The same thing happened in the digital space, right? Now, let's look at it from a wireless perspective, right? From wireless communication perspective, right? When you send your information wirelessly, right? The information is being sent wirelessly. So what do I mean by that, right? That means it's being sent through what? Radio. What's the word now? What is the word now? What's the word? Oh my God, English is failing me right now. But then it's been sent through radio waves. Yes, it's been sent through radio waves. Now, the fact that it's been sent through radio wave, it's that means think of it as being sent through the air, right? And at the end of the day, somebody with the right tool sets, right, can actually capture those radio waves. And if the information you are sending is not properly protected, properly encrypted, that means the person can what? Decrypt the information or the radio wave, the information being sent through the radio wave. Okay, so unlike wired, right? If it's a wired communication, right, the information will be going through the wire, right? In fact, there are still some devices that can be used to tamper with the wire and read the information that is flowing through the wire. But I mean, it's technically, right, might be easier to get the information flying through the radio wave, flowing through the air, right? Since it's air, everybody has access to air. So if somebody has the right tool, the person can actually get those information, and not just get those information, try to read what is in those information. Okay, so now let me give you an example, right? We are not going to go deep into that. We're not going to go deep into that because of the kind of class that we're having. But let me give you an example, something I believe most of you might be able to relate to, and it should help to drive home the point I am trying to make. Okay, so for example, for your computer, right, your laptop, right, you have a Wi-Fi card that is installed on your laptop, right? And most time, the manufacturer is going to set your Wi-Fi to monitored mode. Your Wi-Fi card is going to be set to monitored mode. Okay, so what this monitored mode means for your Wi-Fi card is simply mind your business. You only receive and decrypt information that is meant for you, right? It is you only receive and interpret information meant for you. Okay, now it is possible for you to change your Wi-Fi card from monitored mode, from managed mode rather. From managed mode, it's called managed mode. From managed mode, you change it to what? To monitored mode. Now, when you change your Wi-Fi card to monitored mode, your Wi-Fi card is going to be capturing all the information that is passing around, whether the one meant for it or the one not meant for it. As long as it is flying past your system, right, is going to capture it, right? So thank you, Stephen. Sorry, I meant managed mode, right? Managed mode is mind your business. Monitored mode is, oh, any information that is flying around, capture it. You should, right? So imagine you are communicating around the manual, right? And you are communicating wirelessly. And then I set my system, right? I set my Wi-Fi card to change it from managed mode. I change it to monitored mode. And then the information that you are passing around, right? It's not being encrypted. It's not flowing through a secure channel, right? That means Emmanuel potentially will be eavesdropping into your conversation, right? Be eavesdropping. I might be seeing some of the message you are sending, right? And probably you might be submitting your username and password, and I might be seeing that. Right? Probably you might be sending some important information, and I'll be able to see that. So basically, I'm just around and I'm eavesdropping on your conversation. Okay, so that's just an example. So someone said, I saw one example when I was explaining. I can't remember who gave that example, right? Because the message flew past. But sorry if I'm not calling your name, but you know yourself. Someone spoke about walkie-talkie. Yes, I love that comment. Yeah. So for walkie-talkie, right, you need to set your frequency. You need to set your walkie-talkie to a particular frequency for you to be able to hear all the conversations happening on that particular frequency. So imagine that maybe I'm in a war. Maybe for soldiers, right? Maybe you've gone to the war front and then someone was able to discover the frequency through which the enemy is communicating, right? So if you discover the frequency through which the enemy is communicating, all what you have to do is to what? Fine-tune your walkie-talkie to the frequency of your enemy, and then you'll be eavesdropping on all the communication, all of their words of their communication happening through that frequency. Okay, so I hope it's getting clearer, right? I hope it's getting clearer. Okay, so Temilade Ani for what she said is me. Okay, thank you, Temilade. All right. Thank you for that beautiful example, right? So another thing is man in the middle attack. Okay, so what is man in the middle attack, right? Man in the middle attack is just like its name. Somebody sits in the middle of conversation between two parties, right? Now, these two parties are going to think that they are communicating with each other. But then somebody is in the middle of the conversation who is what? Relaying the information between them. Okay, so now let me give you an example. I like a particular story. I like giving a particular story when I'm talking about man in the middle, right? But it's about one of my secondary school friends. So I'm going to protect my secondary school friend's privacy, and I'm not going to say the story in public on the internet. Okay, but okay. So let me give you an example. So who am I going to pick on tonight? Someone is Philip is saying e.g. hush puppy. Okay, now that's interesting. So who am I going to pick on tonight? So Tomiwa, Daniel, and Defeat Gabby, right? Want to communicate, right? Tomiwa, Daniel, and Fit Gabby want to communicate, and they want to have a business communication, right? But then, unknown to them, Okoro Cynthia, right? Okoro Cynthia has come into the communication, right? Now, remember the communication is happening digitally, okay? Okoro Cynthia has come between this communication. Now, Tomiwa sends, hello, Fit Gabby, how you doing, right? But then Okoro Cynthia sees the message and Okoro Cynthia is like, okay, no problem. I'll forward this to Tomiwa. Tomiwa receives the message, fine. Now, Tomiwa replies, okay, I'm doing well, man. Doing great. Life is good. I'm making the bag. God is great. Family is doing fine. All those kind of messaging, right? And then, it's nothing to Okoro Cynthia. So, Okoro Cynthia transfers the message, right, to Fitz Gabby, right? And then it keep happening like that. But then, what Tomiwa does not know, and as well, Fit Gabby, what both of them do not know is that they are not necessarily communicating with each other. Okay, right? They are actually, both of them are actually communicating with Okoro Cynthia, right? Because Okoro Cynthia at the end of the day sends them what she believes the other person should see. Okay, right? So let's say, for example, Tomiwa now says, okay, Fit Gabby, I want to register for the gym, right? And I need your gym membership and information, and maybe I need your invoice so I can initiate the transaction and all those kind of things, right? Now, if that message gets to Okoro Cynthia can now choose to edit the account detail, right? And forward it to what? Forward it to Tomiwa, right? Tomiwa already believes that the message is coming from Fit Gabby, right? So Tomiwa trusts the message and Tomiwa is going to send the money to Okoro Cynthia, believing that he is sending the money to who? To Fit Gabby. So that's just like an example, right? That's like an example, right? But it happens in a lot of ways, right? If somebody sits between the communication between two parties, right? Sits in the between the communication between two parties, there's a lot of things the person can do. The person can alter the information. The person can make the convey wrong information. The person can probably, there's a lot the person can do basically, right? At that point, just imagine what is possible, right? So that is like an example of man in the middle, right? Right. So now I'm even getting confused by my story, right? But please, I hope I'm not confusing you guys, but I hope you guys get the point I'm trying to make, right? So man in the middle is crazy, right? You want to make sure that nobody can sit between your conversation with another person. Okay, so someone is saying, man, Jesus, God, man, Jesus, God. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can think of it that way, but I don't want to go that far. I don't want to go that far, right? So very important, right? Then we have replay attacks, right? So we have replay attacks, right? So replay attack is similar to man in the middle, right? Similar to man in the middle, right? It's just like, oh, I've captured a message, right? So let's say, for example, Oh, this one, I will need to go technical with this one, right? Replay attack is using some kind of expectation. So, for example, somebody, okay, I have like a perfect explanation for this. So, for example, who am I? Someone said I've never called him or her before, and now I can't even see your name. So, Vuma. So, Vuma Nyambi, right? Vuma Nyambi is trying to authenticate to a web application, right? Now, in the process of authenticating to the web application, not Emmanuel, Sylvester Rebecca, right? Sylvester Rebecca was around, right? And using some networking tools, using some hacker tools, Sylvester Rebecca was able to capture that request, right? Even though Sylvester Rebecca cannot read into that request that is being sent, right? Cannot read into what the other person is sending, right? I can't even remember the name. Oh my god, right? Let me go back. Yeah, Vuma cannot read into what that authentication request, the username and password that Vuma has sent, right? Is there a way that Rebecca can go and send this request to the web application, can replay that request to the web application? And if the web application does not have a way to tell that it is actually coming from Vuma, right, then there's going to be trouble. So it's like, okay, I've captured something that the legitimate user is doing, right? And then I go and I replay it to the application. I go and I replay it to the server, right? And if the server cannot tell, then there's going to be problem. So that is like replay attack. Okay, then message tampering. You can infer message tampering from man in the middle, right? Similar to what Cynthia did, right? Tamper with the message, edit the account details, and forwarded our own, and all those kind of stuff, right? Then there's also spoofing, right? There's also spoofing. So spoofing is like a lot of times spoofing is like claiming to be who you are not or what you are not, right? So for example, I could go and claim to be Lawal, right? So if I'm claiming to be Lawal and there's no way for the application to tell if I am actually Lawal, right, then there's a problem. Okay, then there's a problem. Yes, thank you. That's the right word, Ngozi. Impersonation, right? Spoofing a lot of the time has to do with impersonation. Spoofing a lot of the time has to do with impersonation. Yeah. Okay, some people are saying the replay attack is not clear. Replay attack is not clear. Okay. So, I mean, you capture a legitimate request by a legitimate user and then you save it, even though you can't decode what is actually in the message. Okay, you capture the legitimate request, and then even though you can't interpret what is in the request, you replay it to the application, right? You replay it to the application as a malicious user. If you replay it to the application and the application cannot tell that it is the request is being replayed, then there's going to be a problem, right? So yeah. Don't worry, guys. As we proceed, I think I'm going to expand on that. Okay, so now having explained all of that, right? A lot of you guys from the very beginning said, okay, when we want to have secure communication, one thing that we cannot help but mention is something called encryption. Something called encryption. So something called encryption. So it's almost time for break. So here's what we'll do. Let's take a break now. So we'll take 10 minutes break. Fill in your attendance, take a walk, do everything. And then when we come back, we'll pick up from encryption basics. Then we'll talk about the type of encryption and all those kind of stuff. Okay. All right. So let's go on a quick 10 minutes break and We'll pick up from encryption when we get back. All right, guys. We are back. So please confirm if you can hear me. Please. All right, thank you. Okay, so I think I can see a lot of complaint about the attendance, right? So I hope that has been resolved by most of you because I see a lot of your you guys trying to resolve the problem, right? I see a lot of people trying to help out with it, and most of the steps I've seen are very helpful and they are very clear and straightforward. So okay. Fashakin Olumiyiwa still complaining. Oh, you don't have to copy the link. All you have to do is click on the link. Okay. Oh my God, David. Okay. So I think I might have to walk you guys through that quickly and then we get back to our class. So please just pay attention. Please pay attention. Okay. Just pay attention to my screen and then I'll walk you through that very quickly and then we'll get back to our class. Is that okay for those who are still having that problem? All right. So okay. I'm just going to go to the YouTube for our class. Right. I'll just pause this. You can see your chart here by the right hand side, right? So you just come below the video, right? Below this incubator hub. If you're using your laptop, so you click on more, right? And then you can see the link here. So let me make this a bit bigger. So this is the link over here. All right. So thank you, admin. So the link has just been posted. All right. So the link is now on your chat, so please get the link from there, and that should do it. All right, fast shacking, that's great. You're welcome. Okay, so I think we can get back to our slide, guys. Okay, so yeah, so back to encryption. So I have a very simple definition of what encryption is here, right? So encryption basically is scrambles data so it is unreadable without a key, right? So you encrypt data, right? When they say encrypt data, you convert the data from an intelligent format to an unintelligent format, right? Using a secret key, right? So the opposite of encryption is what is decryption. The reverse of encryption is decryption. So if I'm converting the data, right, that has been made unintelligible to back to intelligent format, then I'm decrypting the information. So I'm decrypting it. Okay. So yeah, so that's just encryption and decryption basically, right? Convert it from intelligent manner to unintelligent format. Convert from intelligent formats to unintelligent formats, right? That's encryption. And then decryption is converting from non-intelligent format back to the original message, right? Back to the intelligent format. Okay. So for example, maybe I'll say my name is Emmanuel, right? A type of encryption can change the message from my name is Emmanuel to name Emmanuel is, right? So it has been scattered, right? The message has been scrambled. right? So, okay, decryption is now you taking that message and converting it back to what? My name is Emmanuel, right? So, earlier on, a lot of you guys spoke about end-to-end encryption, right? So what end-to-end encryption means is, okay, when the message is leaving, when you are sending a message on WhatsApp, right, and it is leaving your mobile device or your mobile phone, right, it is going to be encrypted, right, and then when it gets to the other person's mobile device, the receiving party mobile device, it is going to be what? It's going to be decrypted, and then you will now be presented with the original plain data, original plain information, right? So there are different ways to go about encryption, right? There are different ways we go about encryption, right? But for the, there are two types of encryption. Okay, so we have the symmetric and then we have the asymmetric encryption. Okay, so we have symmetric and asymmetric encryption. So what does that mean? So for symmetric, right, they only use one key to do encryption and decryption. While for asymmetric encryption, we use two keys. So somebody might want to be asking now that what is a key, right? We are going to get to that. So a key is that secret stuff, the secret word, the secret message, this what the secret stuff that you use to what? Carry out encryption and you use to what? Carry out decryption. So think of encryption as what? Locking something, right? So a padlock, you need a key, right? So yeah, and then when you want to open the padlock, you still need a key to open it. So symmetric encryption is like the same key you use to lock the padlock is the same key you use to what? Unlock the password, the padlock. Why asymmetric, the key you will use to what? To lock the padlock is different from the key that you will use to what? To unlock the padlock. Okay, so now symmetric. So in symmetric encryption, the same key is used for encryption and decryption, right? The same key is used for encryption and decryption for symmetric encryption. We have just one key. We have just one key, right? What this means is that it is going to this makes symmetric encryption and decryption process fast. It makes it fast, right? And because you need speed, right? A lot of time when you have like a large chunk of data, it is advised that you use symmetric encryption. Okay, so we have different algorithms, right, for this, right? So we have AES, we have DES, we have Cha-Cha 20, and a whole lot others, right? But then because we have because we have one key that is being used for encryption and decryption, that means it is very important that we protect that key. It is very, very important that we want to protect that key, right? So key management is the main challenge, right? So for example, I want to send a message to Stephen, right? I want to send a message to Stephen, right? And then after encrypting the message, I send the message to Stephen, and then maybe Lovett, right? Lovett intercepts the message, right? Maybe Lovett intercepts the message along the way. The message is not going to make sense to Lovett, right? Because Lovett do not have the key to decrypt the message, right? But then the question that I would beg to ask is, how do I make sure I get the key to Stephen, right? How do I get the key to Stephen, right? Very important, right? So because the same key I'm using is for is the same key Stephen is using. So what happens maybe in the process of trying to communicate or send the key to Stephen, somebody, maybe Lovett, is able to intercept our message, get the key. That means any message that is happening between me and Stephen, Lovett is going to be able to what? Decrypt it, since Lovett already has the key. So one of the main challenges when it comes to symmetric encryption is the management or the protection of the secret key. Okay, so very important, right? So I hope this is clear. I hope we are good with symmetric encryption, right? So I already said it uses the same key for encryption and decryption, and as a result of this, it is fast, it is right, it is used for bulk data protection. We gave some example, and then we said, okay, because the same key is used for encryption and decryption, right, there is a challenge to, right, which is key management, right? Because once someone intercepts the key, then the person has access to your information. And then at the end of the day, we still need to look for an effective way to send the key, right? So we might be sending an encrypted message, but the first process, right, that we are going to use to communicate the key, how do we go about it, right? Okay. All right, so I'm seeing a lot of yes, so I think that means we are good to go. All right. So Epenusi, the algorithm. So what do you mean by the algorithm? I'm not sure I understand you clearly. Can you add context to your message? Right. I'm just saying the algorithm, the algorithm. Can you add context? Okay. All right. But then we have asymmetric encryption. Now, for asymmetric encryption, we have two keys, right? So we have two key, right? So we have public key and we have private key. Okay, so we have public key and we have private key. So public key is what we use for encryption, while private key is what we use for decryption. Okay, so some persons, I have some questions. I will quickly attend to those questions because I feel it will be important moving on. So, Stephen, in what form of communication in asymmetric use? Okay. Dara Messi, what is the algorithm all about? Okay, so the algorithm is how we go about the encryption. Encryption algorithm is like the step that you follow to arrive at your encrypted message. So it's just like there are different ways you can encrypt a message. So these ways are called the algorithm, right? The algorithm used to encrypt the message. Do you understand? So think of it as the way you go about encrypting the message. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. Okay, so now back to asymmetric encryption. We have two keys. Remember, for symmetric, we have one key. For asymmetric, we have two. So we have two keys, right? So we have public key, right? That one is going to be open to everybody. That one, anybody can see that one, right? And then we have private key, which is going to be private, right? That means only the person, the owner of the message, should have that, right? Common places we use asymmetric encryption in like TLS, in like email security, and then we have some common algorithm, RSA, ECC, DSA, and a lot more out there, right? So now the question is, how does this work, right? I have a question on that already. Matthew Bello, in asymmetry, can you encrypt with a public key, then decrypt with a private key, and also do reverse? No, 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 no. You use public key for encryption, right? And then you do Yeah, you can do the reverse, right? Ah, no, no, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't want to mislead you. I'm not sure. But I've always thought of it this way. You do encryption with public key and then you do decryption with private key. But it might be possible to do it reverse. I'm not sure of that though. Now, let me explain the way it works, right? So remember that for symmetric, earlier on we said, okay, for symmetric, we said there's always a challenge of exchanging key, right? Because there's a chance that the bad guy is going to intercept it, and then after intercepting, they'll always be able to decrypt our message. Okay, now for asymmetric, what you have to do, right? For asymmetric, what will happen is I am Emmanuel. I'm just going to come to the public space and say, okay, I am using asymmetric, right? And anybody that wants to communicate with me should use this public key towards encrypt the message. Since I am the owner, since I am the only one that have access to the private key, only me will be able to decrypt the message. So there's a lot that happens at the back end, but that is how it works, right? Then maybe David, right, or Richard, right, will also come out and say, okay, this is my public key. Anybody that wants to send me any information to me should use my public key, right? So if I want to send a message to David, I'm just going to go online, retrieve David's public key, use it to encrypt the message and send to him, right? And David will use his own personal private key to decrypt the message. Okay, but so any other person that will be able to see the message, but then they will not be able to decrypt the message because they don't have David's private key. So that's how it works. So at the end of the day, when it comes to asymmetric encryption, everybody just puts their public key online, but then they keep their private key private. And then anybody that wants to send any information to them will go retrieve the public key, use it to encrypt their message, and then send to them. Okay. All right. So I have a lot of questions flying here. Some do not necessarily apply to what we are discussing tonight, and touching some of them might bring about confusion. So I'm trying to be very careful. Okay, so PTW TV. I love this, right? I love this scenario that you give, even though you spammed us, right? You said when banks sent statement of account to me, I was told to use my bank account number to open it so that I can access it. What type of encryption is that? So that is actually a symmetric that's a symmetric encryption. Okay, that's symmetric. This at their own end, what they use to encrypt that file is your account number, right? And what you are using to decrypt it at your own end is still your account number. So there's only one key that is needed, right? There's only one key that is needed to decrypt it. Okay. So that what that means is anybody that has access to your account number will be able to decrypt it. Okay. All right. Yeah, thank you, Richard. Bank statements use symmetric encryption. That's very correct. Okay. I think that's good. And all right, thank you, Richard. PW. Okay, I should repeat what I said. I can't remember which parts. Which parts? Okay, so I hope asymmetric is clear, and I hope symmetric is also clear. So asymmetric uses two keys, public and private key. For symmetric, we use just one key, right? But now for asymmetric, because we are using two key, right? It's probably going to be slower as compared to what to symmetric. Okay, so example, right? We said it's commonly used in TLS, right? So TLS, that's like your websites, right? Your web applications, a lot of time. SSL TLS, right? For HTTPS, right? That's an example of asymmetric, right? Because the web application have a place that they all put their public key, right? And then anybody that is trying to use them, right, is going to retrieve it and then communicate with the website, and then only people private key will be used for that. So that's asymmetric. Okay. Okay, the guy's Baba is asking, what is the meaning of RSA, ECC, DSA? Please just do a quick Google search on that. Okay, let's move to other part of our class tonight. A quick Google search will answer some of the questions you guys are asking. Okay, so yes, so having spoken about this now, right? Most of our conversation, right? In fact, the conversation we are having right now is happening through a web application, right? For those using their laptop, right? They are using the web version of YouTube. Then those using their mobile phone might be using the mobile application, right? But then at the end of the day, it's still happening through the web, right? And a lot of time, web applications, right, to protect and to make sure that the information that we are sending through the web, the information that we are sending through the internet, right, is encrypted. We mostly use TLS and SSL. Okay? So remember, we already established that TLS, SSL is asymmetric, right? So for us to make sure that the information that we are like we are passing, right, through the internet is working securely, right? We use SSL or TLS, right? So remember the last time, right? The last session I had with you guys, we actually spoke about Wireshark, how to intercept network traffic, and then after intercepting network traffic, we simulated the victim, right, who went to log into a web application, and then we came back to simulate an attacker, and then we're able to dig out the username and the password. Okay, we're able to dig out the username and password, but then we're only able to dig out the username and password of that user because that our victim, right, in that situation was using HTTP website. That means the message that was being transmitted was not being what? Encrypted. Right? So that's why we're able to what? To retrieve that information. Okay. Now, if like I explained shortly, very briefly in that class, right, in that session, I said, oh, if the user was using HTTPS, then would have not been able to see the what? The information because the information is going to be encrypted. And then I still, if my memory serves me correctly, we actually saw HTTP requests, and then we also went to look at some TLS requests, some HTTPS requests, and then the HTTP request, we could read it. We could read the information that was being shared between the browser and the server, right? But then for the TLS, the HTTPS request, we could not read it. We could not make sense out of it. It was a lot of strange characters and a lot of strange stuff, right? It was a lot of strange characters and a lot of strange stuff, right? So that is what secure communication, right? That's already showing us that, okay, we cannot sniff it, right? We cannot, if we are trying to do man in the middle, we'll not be able to make sense out of it and all those kind of things. So yeah, a lot of time when it comes to web communication, right, there's usually communication between a browser and a server, right? So what SSL and TLS does is to what? Make sure that the communication between the server and the browser is actually encrypted. It encrypts the data that is being shared between the server and the browser in both ways. Okay? What this does for us is it prevents all the risks we highlighted earlier on, right? The man in the middle, the sniffing, in some cases, tampering, and all those kind of stuff. Okay, so someone is asking, what is the meaning of SSL? What is the meaning of TLS? Okay, so SSL, right? Is anybody explaining that for me, or nobody's saving me today? Okay, so TLS is transport layer security, while SSL is socket, secure socket layer. Okay, transport layer security and secure socket layer. Okay, so you can see that in both there is the word security, there's the word secure. Okay, all right, so let's continue with this now. So for example, we are going to take a look at some demo, right? And before, traditionally it used to be like that, but I mean things have changed a little bit on most modern browsers, right? So but let's take a brief look outside of our slide, and let's visit google.com. So if we visit google.com, right, I know this might be a bit small, so please just take notes, right? If I come to this side of my browser, I can't make it bigger, right? If I come to this side, you can see where my cursor is, right? You can see this part. Before it used to be one, you will see a padlock here, right? Which means so it is SSL protected, SSL and TLS protected, right? But if you come here, if I click on this now, right, you can see connection is secure here, right? If I click on this now, you can see some more information. Connection is secure. Your information, for example, this password or credit card number is private when it is sent to these sites, right? So you can see all of that here. So let me go back. Okay, right? So I hope you guys saw that and that is clear. All right, I hope that is clear, right? But now let's look for an HTTP website, right? That's the one without the S. So you can see this particular one. This is HTTP testphp.vonweb.com, the same website we use to practice our Wireshark, right? So you can see over here that this is telling me not secured, right? If you click on this, you can see your connection to this site is not secure. You should not enter any sensitive information on this site. For example, password or credit card, because it could be easily stolen by attacker. Right? Because it could be easily stolen by attacker. So what this means is any website that is using TLS and SSL, that means any information I am supplying to that website, I'm sure nobody can what? Intercept it and read the information. It's not going to make sense to them, right? I'm sure, oh, man in the middle might not be able to work, right? I'm sure sniffing might not be able to work. So even if the person is sniffing, the person is not going to make sense out of the information, right? But oh, for this one now that is using just HTTP, you can see that the browser is already telling me that, oh, any information I'm submitting to that web application, remember that it's going to be transmitted, right? Okay, after I submit the information, there's a chance that if somebody is eavesdropping, if somebody is sniffing, maybe somebody is carrying a man in the middle attack, then they might be able to what? Intercept and read the message that I am supplying on the website. Okay, so thank you. Let's get back to our slide. Okay. So, yeah, so Why, having explained all of this, right? Why then do you, I'm sure like everybody should now see why HTTPS is important, right? It is very important, right? It is advised that all websites should use HTTPS, right? You can use tools like Let's Encrypt, right, to encrypt, to do SSL, TLS, and all those kind of stuff, right? Mixed content warning, right? Insecure elements in HTTPS pages. Okay, so but there's one thing I like to clarify, right, in sessions like this, is that the fact that a website is HTTPS does not automatically mean that the site is safe. What HTTPS means is that the information you are sending through that website or on that website is actually being encrypted. Okay, all right, so we need to be very careful with that, right? Right, so yeah, so having said that, let's get to visualizing that all of this using Wireshark. So let's visualize HTTP and HTTPS using Wireshark. Okay, so I'm just going to reshare my screen now, and then we'll take a look at what this looks like in raw form. Okay. So guys, please confirm if you can see my screen. Okay. Oh my God. Please just hold on. Please, can you see my screen? Okay, still can see it. Still dark. Okay, just hold on, guys. You should see it anytime from now. You still can't see my screen. Okay. Oh my. But you guys can hear me, right? But you guys can hear me, right? Oh, okay. Thank you, Stephen. Okay. Please, can you see it now? All right. Thank you. Thank you, guys. All right. Thank you. So, we're already familiar with this interface and what it does. So, I'm just going to select my Wi-Fi. So, there's a lot of network activities going on, right? But let me quickly stop it, right? And let's take a look. So, you guys can see some TLS happening, right? So, let me make this big. Yeah, because I know some persons might be struggling to see this. So yeah, I want to believe this font is good enough for everybody. Okay, so you can see TLS, right? So you can see some TLS requests, right? You can see TLS v1.2. You can see all these TLS, right? All right, thank you. So you can see transport layer security. So if I click on this, so you can see it is for hypertext transfer protocol. And let me expand on these, right? So if I right click on this and I click follow TLS stream, um, okay. Oh, some people are still complaining that this is tiny. I want to believe everybody can see the text on my screen. Okay, okay. Thank you, Peter Amachi, physics consulting. Jolly Chukwama is dark on my end. All right, thank you, Gabby. All right. Okay, a lot more persons are saying they can see it, so I have to believe it's good. Very, very good. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Nyugotosin. Okay, so you can see TLS, right? So if you take a look at this, you you probably see that we can't make sense out of most of the information that is there, right? But let me restart this, right? Continue without saving. But then this time around, I'm going to, so I have like a filter, right now on it. So I'm just going to stop this. This filter is only checking TLS request, right? So you can only see TLS request here. So if I right click on it and I do follow TCP stream or TLS stream, you will see that the information, you will see that most of the information are not intelligent. So I'm coming. I need to reshare my screen so you can see what I'm trying to show. Okay. So okay, please guys, can you see my screen? I want to believe you guys can see my screen. Okay, so you can see now. So we have a lot of TLS requests here. So because I have a filter for only TLS requests. Okay, so you can see all these requests are TLS requests. Now, usually when you want to remember the last time when we were digging out the password, you just right click on any of the requests, you select follow. So let's follow TCP stream. And then you can see that the information is encrypted. This does not make sense. If this makes sense to you, then you must be superhuman, right? If this makes sense to you, then you must be superhuman. Okay, so this makes no sense, right? This is absolute gibberish, right? So this is encryption in place, right? And this is like asymmetric was used, encryption was used for this. So you can see that all these are TLS requests. Okay, so let me repeat the process again. Click on this, right click, follow TLS stream or TCP stream, anyone you select, right? If I should, okay, I selected the wrong one. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Follow TCP stream, and then you see that we have all of this here. Okay, so I'm just going to stop sharing. Okay, no. Let's do the same for our HTTPS request, but let me stop sharing and then we'll do that quickly. Okay, so okay, so I'll share my screen now. Please confirm if you can see my screen, guys. Please confirm if you can see the login screen I have here. Okay. So, okay, I want to believe everybody can see the login screen. So let's go back to Wireshark, but then I have to close the TLS stuff. So let me quickly close all of those, right? So close this, and then let's go to Wireshark now. I'm going to remove this filter, but I'm going to put HTTP, right? And then I'm going to start it so we can only capture HTTP request, okay? So there's no HTTP request yet. So if I refresh this page a little now, and we go back, you should see some HTTP request, okay? So you can see that. So let's log in with Emmanuel, and then what am I going to pick on now? Joseph, yeah, I think Joseph have really helped me today. So I'm going to put a lot of P in Joseph, right? And then I'm going to log in, right? And then let's go back, and then we can see that. So I'm just going to select this, follow HTTP stream, right? And then we can see the entire communication in plain text, right? Most of it is in plain text, right? So you can read all of this, so you can see get these server is responding 200, okay, all of those, right? Communication keeps happening like that. So you can see everything is in like proper English, right? So you can see post user info, you can see username, Emmanuel, pass is Joseph with plenty P. So you see with encryption and then without encryption, right? So yeah. So I'm just going to stop sharing now. We share my screen, and yeah, I think we've done justice to our topic for tonight. Yeah. So share. All right. So thank you so much, guys. So now we've understand the encryption, how interesting, how important encryption is. We've seen web traffic without encryption. We've seen web traffic with encryption, right? So we've seen the differences, right? With encryption, we can't make sense out of it. Without encryption, we've seen that, oh, it's possible for us to see all the communication. So imagine that now, remember we are playing attacker and victim in this scenario, right? But remember I mentioned that, oh, it's possible for me to put my Wi-Fi card in monitored in monitored mode, right? And then it's going to be capturing all the traffic happening, right? So imagine that somebody around me is probably using a Wi-Fi, right? And in the process of using the Wi-Fi, they're using HTTP web application, and then I put my system on monitored mode, right? Then I'll be able to capture what the user is sending, and probably what we just did is sniffing, right? So I can extract the username and password and probably go and impersonate that user. So thank you very much for tonight, guys. Thank you, and thank you. So Peter, Peter is saying 3 push-up for me. All right, man. All right, man. Thank you. So he's calling me analogical. Oh my God. All these compliments. Are you guys sure you're not using this style to stroke me? All right. So thank you very much, Axe. Yes, I think this is the first time I'm mentioning Axe. I know there are some names I'm already familiar with. Thank you, Caleb, as well. Okoli Grace, please, sir, can Proton VPN? Oh, I missed your message now. Where is it? Can Proton make Wireshark not to open? No. Proton VPN can't stop your Wireshark from opening. Okay. Ah, Philip. Oh my God. Thank you. All right. So thank you very much, guys. Please take your attendance. Thank you, Bami Boye, Ajiboye. Thank you as well. Thank you. All right. Thank you, guys. So let's keep learning, right? And like I said, try as much as possible to read outside what we are teaching in this class, right? Then you are going to be a step ahead of other people, and we'll keep doing our best. And yeah, let's keep learning, and let's stay humble, right? And stay hungry for knowledge, guys. Thank you. And I'll see you in the very next one. I'll see you guys in the next session. So bye bye, guys. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, good night from wherever you are joining us from. All right.